Hi, this is Kylie with Feminine Flow. I hope everyone's having a great day. Today I have a shorter episode, and how I find this happens a lot. Things just happen in my daily life that inspire me or give me ideas or teach me lessons that I then think, wow, this is a great life lesson that I want to talk about. So that's really where this comes from. It popped in my head this morning, and I thought it was really, really useful to share. I was out of town for most of last week, and I took some days off work and I was on a little vacation. It's currently Monday right now. I got back on Sunday, yesterday. And yesterday I did some laundry, got some things back in order, did some parts of my daily routine that I was really, really missing while I was gone. It's always so hard for me to stay really in my good routine while I'm traveling, but yesterday got back into some of it, unpacked, like I said, just got ready for the week. And I went to bed early as well. I was just so tired after traveling back home. And I woke up this morning and was so tired. I felt like I got hit by a truck. So I was a little slower at getting up than I usually am, but I really wanted to do my routine, which is get up and before work, walk around the neighborhood. And this walk takes me about an hour and it's about 4 miles. So I was laying there this morning debating if I wanted to get up and go on my walk or just lay there for another hour. I was that tired. I thought, "Oh my gosh, I could go back to sleep for another hour, that might be good." But I decided I really needed to get my body moving, so I finally got myself up, fed my puppies, got some breakfast, had my matcha, and went for a walk. And as I was walking, it really hit me because it was just so beautiful outside. The sun was shining, I heard birds, the wind was brushing my face, and the temperature was perfect. And I really felt amazing. The energy of today felt so magical, honestly. It felt incredible. And that got me thinking, wow, if I would have stayed in bed for another hour and just went straight into my workday, I would have missed all of this. All of this is just waiting outside for me to go tap into. And the energy felt extremely potent and magical. So much in a way, I was walking and I was just listening to the birds around me, listening to water. One of my neighbors has a little water feature. I walked by it and listened to it, and it just felt so good and sounded so good. And I can't even tell you, the energy felt magical. I'm not even kidding when I say that. It really made me think about how in our daily lives we're so distracted. We have these long lists of responsibilities, all these to-do lists, all the tasks we need to accomplish. We have our day jobs that we have to clock in, clock out, get the work done. We're just so distracted. And a lot of the time, we may prioritize those kind of tasks above just going out in nature and just being instead of doing. And in one of my previous podcast episodes, I talk about our soul's purpose versus our soul's mission. And I talk about how our soul's purpose is more the being aspect, while the mission is more of the doing aspect. And I talk about how important being in that soul's purpose is and how the being is so important because that's how we get into alignment with our higher self, who we're supposed to be. And once we're aligned with that, that's when the mission comes in to us. So it's so important we have more time out in nature, in that flow state, truly just being. And that's how I felt this morning. I felt super tapped in, super aligned, super in that being aspect. And that really is what set me up for a great day. And that's what got me in that wonderful headspace where I was just sitting and enjoying that energy that felt honestly so magical. And I thought about how this actually should be the priority of my day instead of all those tasks and all of my to do list, especially that had piled up because I had been gone the week before. I could have been walking this morning, looking through my work email on my phone or setting up a pickup grocery order for the week. But I knew it was so important to let go of all distractions, not be distracted, and really be in the present moment. When you're in the present moment, that's when you're in that flow state. That's where you connect to your higher self. That's when you'll get these great ideas of inspiration and grand insight. And that's where the magic happens. So, that was really the main message I wanted to talk about is how we really do need to prioritize being instead of doing, because that is what will get us aligned for the whole day. And really, that's a huge form of self care. We need to take care of ourselves in that way, and it will align us for all of the stuff we do need to accomplish that day. But we need to have a moment to ourselves first. And that can come in however you want. If you want to go on a walk in nature in the morning, like I do, or if you just want some quiet time, or if you want to meditate, or even if your form of exercise feels very in the flow and a flow state to you. It really depends on what you prefer. And I feel like we all really need to do better about living in the moment and being in the present moment instead of constantly thinking about all the distractions or texting and thinking about future plans or things we need to do. But you see that all the time. Everyone has their head down in their phones and is trying to do a million things at once. I really challenge everyone to make the being aspect of life more important and the first priority. So take some time today and sit down and brainstorm and write down some ideas on things you would really enjoy that would get you more in that being aspect. And this is not a task. This should not be hard. This is something that you would really, really enjoy and something that would set you off on the right foot for the day. And if you listen to my other podcast episodes about the different dimensions and how we can utilize that energy and how we really need to be anchoring that potent, amazing energy in so we break this control of the false matrix. If you recall in previous podcasts, I talk about ways we can anchor in this energy from other dimensions. One way we can pair this with our daily routine and when we do these things that put us in this meditative flow state where we're truly just being in the present and just being. A great thing to do is pair your meditative, flow state, self care type of activities and actions with second dimensional elementals. And by that, I mean just simply wearing these elementals on your body as you do these things because these second dimensional elementals bring in that second dimensional energy. And what I mean by second dimensional elementals are things like gold, crystals, or gemstones. They all have unique energies. So if you want to start utilizing these different energies, there are so many options. So truly put out the intention and ask your guides or your angels to guide you to the perfect elemental for you. Ask what would be the most beneficial for me and for humanity. So if you're unsure, set that intention, then be present and listen to the signs around you, and you'll definitely be guided to whichever elemental would help you the most. So then once you have the perfect elemental for you and the energy will suit you, then when you're in these being flow state type of activities, like just walking and being in the flow state and being present, wear your elementals. And that'll be anchoring in a unique energy that will be helpful to you. I talked about in a previous podcast, you can also pull in 6 dimensional energy with the second dimensional elementals if they have a unique shape when it comes to sacred geometry. So get a second dimensional elemental like gold, crystals, or specific gemstones and get those in a specific geometrical shape. For example, oval or pear would be nice. Something with a point would be nice. Really, you can use your intuition and just think about if energy would flow nicely through that shape. That's how I go about this. For example, I like ovals a lot. When you look at an oval, you can clearly see the flow of energy through it, if that makes sense. When you look at a pear, you can understand how energy would flow through it, like come in at the thicker base and go down to the point. Just use your intuition with this. Another example, if you look at a square, intuitively speaking, it doesn't seem to have very good energetic flow. If you look at that, you don't just see energy flowing through it. It's square and it's like boxes it off. So that's how I go about it. Just look at the shapes and intuitively sense if it has a good energetic flow or not. So pairing a second dimensional elemental with a 6 dimensional sacred geometrical shape, using those together, you're anchoring in both second and 6 dimensional energies. And then, like I talk about in other podcasts, doing things with our body, since our body is electromagnetic and ruled by sacred geometry, the shape of it, and we have a toroidal flow of energy, that's all 6 dimensional. So when we go do things like walking around the neighborhood or playing golf or tennis, anything that is moving our body, that's also anchoring in 6 dimensional energy. And then while we do this, say if we go on a walk or we play golf and we are very mindful and really in love and gratitude and really feeling that in our heart, that's really anchoring in 5th dimensional energy. So basically, what I'm getting at is if you put your first priority of the day, and it doesn't have to be the first thing you do, it just so happens the first thing on my list of the day after I feed my dogs and have matcha and eat some breakfast is go on a long walk. But you can do it at any time. So just make it a big priority of the day to go out and do something that puts you in that flow state where you're truly just being. And probably what you do will involve moving your body. So that will pull in 6 dimensional energy. And if you wear certain elementals in certain sacred geometrical shapes, that will be pulling in 2nd dimensional energy and 6th dimensional energy. And then if you're really being mindful and in gratitude and in love, then that will be pulling in 5th dimensional energy. So think of all that potent energy that just feels so magical and that will start your day off great. I really think that is what I was doing this morning when everything just felt extremely magical and the energy just felt so potent. I really think all of those things were clicking in line and I was anchoring in that energy and I could seriously feel it. It felt really good. So I really hope everyone can experience that and can start off their day or just make it a priority every day to be harnessing in that amazing energy because what I just said is exactly how you do it. And as you see, it's actually really easy. One more thing I want to talk about before I end this is how it's really good if we go through life and go through our day setting the intention and focusing on the idea that any darkness or negativity we encounter, we are going to transmute that into light. Living this way will really set us off on a different path, one of really positive energy and really being a bright light to others. Because I truly believe when we are a light to other people, people recognize the light and it brings out the light in themselves. So it's really making a huge, huge impact. And we can have a huge impact on humanity and others just by focusing on being a light to other people. And I got the idea in my head, this concept as a little Pac Man just chowing down on the little dots in the game. And I just thought about that, how the little Pac Man is eating up all that negativity, all of that darkness, and then is transmuting that. And when I say transmuting that, it just means any of that energy that comes at you, you don't let it affect you in a negative way. You turn around and you be a light to others and you share love and gratitude and high positive vibes with others. I talk about it before and this is a well-known thing, but energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transmuted. So think about that concept when you do this. No new love energy, no new gratitude can be created out of thin air. We use other energy and change the vibe, change the frequency of it, and that's how it's transmuted. So, if any darkness or negativity is happening around you, really step back, be the observer, and don't let it hijack your vibe. Don't let it hijack your frequency. Just observe it, let it go, and continuing being love and being a light to others. And I try to do this often. I try to behave like this and adopt this idea in my daily life. And I've noticed that sometimes I won't even directly know what is affecting me. I'll just feel dense sometimes and sad. And other sensitive people might feel like that. But if you're feeling like that, it could just be energy you've picked up throughout the day, other people's energy that is affecting you. So when I'm feeling that way, I'll journal, I'll write down my thoughts, and then I'll try to see why I might be feeling that way by just connecting the dots. Like, was I somewhere that you could just feel more dense energy? Were people around me doing things that, not judging, but I normally wouldn't do myself? It can be anything like that. Just journal your observations. Don't get tied to the emotion of it. Just step back, step outside of yourself, and be the observer. Don't get caught up in emotions here. Just observe. And you can write those observations down. And you can just connect some dots, understand why you might be feeling that way, and see if there's any lessons to learn from it. And it doesn't have to be any direct lessons that impact you. It could be something like, okay, I was in this dark bar. Everyone I was with was drinking a lot. And I see how alcohol makes people change. I see right in front of me the shift that happens. And seeing that doesn't make me feel good. It can be like that. And it's not judging the people. Because truly, just believe and know that everyone's doing the best they can with the information they have, with their own experiences, with how they grew up, just with everything. I truly just believe everyone's doing the best they can. And it's absolutely not our job to tell people they're doing wrong. Just live how you want to live and be an inspiration to others. truly be the change you want to see in the world. I know that's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. I truly think even setting back, observing, if you want to call it darkness or negative things happening, I truly think just observing a situation, not judging, but observing, and then later connecting the dots and understanding why, how, when, who, just understanding things about it. I truly think just putting that energy towards acknowledging it as an observer and not putting judgment, I really think that actually makes an impact in the world. But never judge others, always send them love and gratitude and know they're doing their best. And I'm sure everyone has moments like this. You're out, things are happening you don't really agree with or don't really like. Don't judge and don't cast judgment. Just send the people love, send them gratitude. And then later, if you need to, journal about it, understand it some more, but then let it go. And then continue to be a light to others and send love. One example I'll talk about is if someone around you seems to have a huge ego and is putting you down to make themselves feel better and bragging and trying to lift themselves up, really, it's because of insecurity. I truly view a lot of things in life as a circle, and the circle is both ego on one side and insecurity on another, and they just feed each other. Someone's insecure, so they want to pump their ego up in other ways or put others down to make themselves feel bigger. That's just ego stemming from insecurity. So once you start to step back and step outside of yourself and just be a big picture observer, and you start to make these connections. Okay, this person seems to have a really big ego and I don't really like being around them, but I see that this is actually stemming from insecurity. Then you start to have more compassion for them and think about what they've gone through in their life. Maybe they grew up in a difficult way or had a lot of people bully them, for example. So they have some issues when it comes to their appearance or not feeling cool, something that makes them insecure. Then that really causes you to have more compassion for them and want to send them love. Because if you don't have that bigger perspective and understand where things may be stemming from, then you may just write them off as being egotistical and shallow. But when you take a moment to step back, you realize there's a lot more behind the scenes than you may see on the surface. This personally helps me step back and relate to others and have more compassion for people than just getting offended or saying there's someone I don't want to be around. But even if you recognize this in someone and have compassion and send them love, you can do that from afar. I'm not saying you should drop your boundaries. If someone's not treating you right or feels negative to be around, definitely have boundaries. You don't have to keep hanging around with that person or letting it affect you. Just have boundaries, but have compassion and love from them from afar. That's just more of a realistic example of what I meant when I was talking about this earlier. I wanted to keep it short and sweet today. This just came into my mind and I thought it was something really interesting to talk about. But in summary, really prioritize the being aspect of life and do things that you really enjoy and put you in that meditative flow state. And then you can add in some other things like using elementals like crystals or gold or certain gemstones. Those elementals in specific geometric shapes will pull in second and sixth dimensional energy when we're doing things that put us in the flow state but are also moving our body. That is also pulling in sixth dimensional energy. And if we're truly being mindful, living in love, and thinking about all the things we're grateful for and living in gratitude, then that will be pulling in the fifth dimensional energy. So, really add that to your daily routine, and you will see big, big changes because all of that energy is out there for us to anchor in. We just need to not be distracted by all of the responsibilities and tasks on our plate and truly be in the present moment. So that's a good way to do it. And if you start doing this, let me know how you feel and what results you're getting. Are you feeling that magical feeling that I talked about? And also just set the intention day to day that you are going to transmute darkness into light and understand that everyone's doing the best they can. And when a situation arises, really step outside of yourself, be the observer, and understand the bigger picture. Don't just immediately judge someone and write them off. And that will just help you have a loving perspective on others and in life, and that'll benefit you and others as well. If you like this, follow me on social media. I'm on TikTok under Fem and Flow, and subscribe to my podcast. And it would be amazing if everyone sent one of my episodes to a friend or three. Just send it around if you enjoy it, and I'd love to hear your feedback. Thank you and have a great day.